Hi, I'm Jamie Pearce, the VP and General Manager for InTemp with Onset, and I'd like to thank you for joining our case study webinar today. We hope you find the information very informative of how Merck KGaA, EMD Serono, implemented the cloud-based InTemp BLE data logger technology across their cold chain shipping operations to dramatically increase their efficiency and reduce costs across their operations. And today I'm joined by Patrick Pichler. And Patrick, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello and good morning and good afternoon. My name is Patrick Pichler. I'm working for Merck KGaA and EMD Serono. I'm based in Switzerland. I'm with the company since 2013 and I'm responsible for quality and distribution. And this is the reason why I'm actually here today, because in my responsibilities is also the temperature monitoring of our products, of our commercial product shipments. And this is how we got together, actually, Onset and Merck.
Thanks, Patrick. All right, with that, we'll turn off our cameras and we'll get going with the presentation. So this will be a fairly brief presentation, about 20 minutes with some Q&A afterwards. And what we'll do is review, Patrick will lead a quick overview discussion of Merck KGaA EMD Serono's implementation and the benefits that they saw from the implementation of the InTemp technology. And then afterwards, I'll provide a brief overview of the InTemp technology itself, how it works with the cloud, and then we'll take a few questions at the end. So with that, Patrick, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much. So as you might know, commercial pharmaceutical product shipments require temperature monitoring. And when we started with temperature monitoring, we used the USB loggers. Usually they are well and widely known. But over time, we found out that it's quite an effort to organize all this logger stuff, and especially when it comes to programming, it's a manual process. When it comes to starting the logger, it's a manual process. When it comes to read out and stop the logger, it's a manual process. And all these manual processes are quite error-prone, or we found them quite error-prone. So we wanted to change that. And on top of that, with all the restrictions and internet securities and IT securities, we faced some issues with suppliers and customers because they had restrictions on plugging the USB devices to their company computers. And for that reason, actually, we searched for a different solution and found the Bluetooth solution, Bluetooth-enabled loggers, with Onset. And Jamie, can I ask you please to move forward to the next slide? Thank you. Where we actually deployed a new way of temperature monitoring for our commercial pharmaceutical product shipments. So what we did is actually we integrated the InTempConnect software with our ERP systems for error-free programming. We also implemented an automated start of the loggers over gateways, and we also have implemented an automated stop and read out over the gateways, which actually was removing quite a lot of errors. But one of the biggest benefits that we saw is that whenever the shipment arrives and the loggers are read out, we are getting a notification about the arrival of the shipment. So in many cases, actually, we were the first knowing that the shipment has arrived in the warehouses, and we are using mainly 3PLs as warehouses. So we were notified before the warehouse manager knew that the product was there, which put us actually in a very comfortable position to nudge and drive basically the warehouse in operating our stock further on. On top of that, we received our KPIs quite automated. So whenever a shipment is arriving, we receive the updates in our KPI files, which gives us an on-time KPI view. We know that the data is stored safely and appropriately in our database, which we can access at any time, which is also very important because our business is actually all around the world, so 24/7 from east to west. So you can imagine that we need data accessibility for 24/7. Can we move on, please, with the slide? I would like to show you or give you a little bit of an insight on the validation approach that we did. So we started actually with some equipment qualification for the gateways and for the loggers. We also did some system validation for the InTemConnect configuration. So for our customized InTemConnect system that we are using. And for the audience to know, the InTemConnect software is actually an off-the-shelf software that you can configure. And this is actually the way how we set it up. We set it up for our purposes, did some customizations and configurations, and this is what we checked. We did not check and validate the InTemConnect software itself because this is the intellectual property of Onset, and most probably they will not give us access to that, but you can check, and we checked the configuration that we are using. We did the same with the app, more or less, with the InTemConnect app that we are using as well. We checked the internet connections in the warehouses. This is very important because the gateways need internet connections and also the app needs internet connection. We checked the systems connectivity with gateway and logger and gateway. We have gateways that program logger and we have loggers that are read out by gateways. So that's the reason why we have this interaction. And locally in the warehouses, we did an IQ and installation qualification for the gateways and the internet connection, and the PQ, a performance qualification, to see if everything basically is running as and working as it should, and it was prognosed more or less. Can we have the next click? Thank you very much. So this system now, as we set it up, is basically building the foundation for new nice features that we have in our pipeline, which I will not disclose today, but perhaps a little bit later. But the functionalities and the way the system is set up by Onset is allowing quite a lot of additional features and topics to be implemented. And the next one, please. I want to share a few facts and figures just to highlight how big the whole project was. We implemented 12 manufacturing sites and distribution centers, 58 subsidiaries, 110 direct customers. We are operating 185 active gateways. We have 56 generic users for subsidiaries and 20 generic users for the customers. And we are having 320 individual users. So this is and the system is still growing in terms of users. So what we found out actually in the last, I would say 12, 15 months, and also during the implementation, that we have a significant reduction of human errors. So we have a much better quality of our data for our KPIs with limited noise in the KPI data. We have extremely good visibility of our shipments, especially during the inbound. And the system itself builds a very, very good platform for further improvements. And with this, I would like to hand over to Jamie.
Thank you very much, Patrick. That's great. Yeah, thank you for the overview of Merck's implementation. And with that, I'd like to give a little bit of a background on the InTemp technology itself and why it's unique from a cloud-based technology with BLE data loggers. And it was really developed to meet the demands for greater automation that pharmaceutical and cold chain customers are looking for today, to really get beyond the manual type nature of USB data loggers. And to do that, Onset implemented BLE data loggers using Bluetooth technology. BLE stands for Bluetooth Low Energy. And the key is that the data loggers are used in combination with gateways that are connected to the cloud via Wi-Fi or Ethernet, or mobile apps that also are permission-based connected to the cloud to provide a complete system that is completely integrated to the cloud. And in the cloud, you can control logger and gateway communications or configurations, user permissions, and you have tremendous control over reporting, creating reports, and then, of course, the storage of the data itself. The loggers are GDP, GMP compliant, and they're NIST calibrated in Onset's own ISO 1725 accredited lab. And of course, all of the software is 21 CFR Part 11 compliant. This schematic gives a quick overview of how the technology works in principle. You can see the shipping loggers in the upper left of the screen. Those in turn can be placed actually inside the packaging because Bluetooth can read through the packaging or through outer packaging. And they in turn connect to, again, the InTemp app or the mobile gateways, which are also connected to the cloud. And so that pulls together the configurations and the programs that are set by the administrator in the cloud. Here we have an example of Merck's actual implementation at one of their facilities. On the left, if you look along the upper pillar, you'll actually see one of the gateways installed in this case via Ethernet, and you have one of the cold storage trucks backed up to the loading dock. But this is an example of a pallet that's nearby. If it's within 30 meters, 100 feet, the gateway is able to program the data loggers or download the data loggers. And it's actually been a great efficiency improvement for the warehouse operators as well. As part of the InTemp shipping loggers, there's a range of different versions. You have your ambient through freezing, both single use and multi-use, but you also have dry ice and cryogenic loggers for the full range of temperatures. All of them communicate using BLE and communicate with the app and the gateways, and they're also flight airline certified on every major airline. Looking at some of the specifics, the CX gateway is what really pulls it together from an automation perspective. The gateway is referred to as a gateway because it speaks BLE in one direction between the gateway and the data logger, and then Wi-Fi Ethernet in the other direction to the cloud. And it was what really provides that 100% data programming, but also the data readout from the loggers at their destination. And it also allows for real-time alerts as soon as the loggers arrive at their destination, or you can even place them at interim points throughout the shipping logistics chain to get alerts along the way. The InTemp mobile app is really the heart of the system. It allows you to control both the gateways and the data loggers locally, especially helpful for locations that you don't have the ability to place a gateway. You also can use user permissions connected to the InTempConnect cloud platform to have a user control the data loggers and gateways locally. And then, of course, the hub of the entire system is the InTempConnect cloud platform. In the cloud, you're able to actually set the configurations for the data loggers, so that includes different temperature ranges as needed, different logging intervals. All of that can be controlled through the configurations, how they're started, user permissions for each individual as login access to the platform, including through their mobile apps. Of course, again, you have the ability to do data reporting through the cloud platform. And one of the significant benefits for large organizations like Merck is you have the ability to use the API integrations, the REST APIs, to integrate the InTempConnect cloud platform to third-party platforms to really implement the efficiency of the system. From a support perspective, Onset is it's based in the United States, in Massachusetts, been manufacturing data loggers for over 40 years, and we have dedicated customer service, tech support, and operations teams. We also have InTemp sales representation, both in the United States and in Europe, with 80 distributors globally. And Onset is also ISO 9001 2015 compliant. And again, we run our own ISO 17025 ILAC accredited lab. So some conclusions that I'd like to review, just from the brief overview of this presentation, is that what we're hoping to, provide an overview of here today is how a cloud integrated BLE data logger solution can provide the dramatic efficiency benefits and total cost of ownership benefits over a USB-based solution. InTemp is unique in that it uses InTemp connected gateways that are fully integrated with a cloud platform, again, with user permissions, and then complete control over the data logger configurations to provide complete data visibility and cloud platform control. And the mobile apps themselves also provide that additional flexibility to where you don't have the infrastructure to place a gateway. You can use the mobile apps, and there's 2 different versions of those, but it provides tremendous flexibility from a system. And of course, to summarize, of course, Merck KGaA is EMD Serono is realizing the time, cost, saving benefits with their global shipment using the InTemp solution. And if there's any questions after this presentation, I'd welcome anyone to reach out to InTemp Sales at onsetcomp.com or our main sales number, 508-743-3309, and we'd be happy to assist on your particular application. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Caitlin. Are there any questions that we had from that overview?
Yes, fantastic. Thank you, Jamie. We do have some questions here. The first being, how long did it take to implement the full system?
I guess
that's probably best answered by you. Yeah.
Well, it was roughly 18 plus months because of the individual programmings on the one hand, but also for the integration with the ERP system where we had to program interfaces and so on. That took us quite some time. For the system itself, it's fairly easy to implement. If you take it as a standalone system with 1-2 warehouses, you might be much quicker. But if you want to roll it out like we did all around the world with I don't know how many hubs in between and so on, then it's taking some time. So I would say like 18, 20 months, I guess.
Great. Thank you, Patrick. The next one we have here is, can you explain the BLE communication technology and whether it can be used on aircraft, including passenger and sea shipments?
I can take that one. So again, BLE stands for Bluetooth Low Energy. So that's the technology which the data loggers actually use for communication. It communicates up to about, again, 30 meters or about 100 feet line of sight. And it, of course, almost all mobile devices today use BLE technology. So it's very straightforward with either an iPhone or an Android device. But they can be used on aircraft where we're certified on every major airline for the InTemp data loggers. And one of the reasons that BLE is so safe is because for DO 160 regulations, a device has to stay below a 100 milliamp threshold for emissions. And the Bluetooth technology with the InTemp loggers is somewhere around, to give you an idea, 2 to 3 milliamps. So it's far below the thresholds for DO 160, and it's why the FAA as well came out with a circular and mentioned that it's completely acceptable for flights. The data loggers also work well for sea shipments. They even the single-use loggers last for 3 months and have plenty of memory for a typical 15-minute data logging interval. So they work well for both.
Great.
Yeah, I can confirm that. That's how we are using the loggers actually in sea freight and air freight. So without
Oh, yeah, thanks, Patrick.
issues.
Fantastic. Great. Thank you. Another question we have here. What are the regulations for qualification validation?
Good question. Well, first of all, you have to look at your country-specific regulations. As the majority of our manufacturing sites and distribution centers and so on are located in Europe, we of course looked at the GMP Annex 11, which talks about computerized systems, but we also looked at the GAMP5 and its regulation. And we found out that the system is a category 4 system, so it's an off-the-shelf system that you can customize. And according to that, we basically managed the qualification and validation effort. For US, we looked at the 21 CFR Part 11, and also for some other countries that are sticking to the rules of the USP. And we do have countries in Asia and also in Latin America, but also Canada, which are sticking to the rules of GMP and are members of the PICS. So we looked at that norm as well. And we had a look at the ISO norms, but we didn't find anything that would compromise or would have been an additional effort to that what we anyway have in GAMP5 and the USP and in GMP.
Okay.
Great.
And another one we have here.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yo, I just want to get another question. Yeah.
Oh, yes, of course. Can the InTempConnect cloud platform be integrated to ERP systems?
Sure, I can touch on that one. It's I think Patrick mentioned it as well, and that is how Merck KGaA implemented the InTemp system. So they, in addition to rolling out the cloud platform, you can use the REST JSON APIs from cloud to cloud integration to pull data into and push data, for full integrations into the InTempConnect platform. So that allows, of course, with a full integration, tremendous flexibility to do data management and also configuration management for the pharmaceutical manufacturer. And you can even integrate it to Power BI systems for data analysis, lane analysis. So it gives a tremendous amount of flexibility, but a lot of efficiencies with that. Well, that's good. Are there a few more, Caitlin? Is that right? Or on a question basis? I know we're coming up on time here a little bit.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So what we'll do is for the, look, we can see several other questions here. So we'll go ahead and follow up with those additional individuals and questions offline after the webinar. But again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining today. And again, feel free and please do reach out to us, and we'd be happy to talk to you about the InTemp technology and how it can be the right solution for you. Thank you very much.